All right, now we're going to look at some examples for circuit analysis when we have controlled current sources in the circuit. So here's an example. We see that we have one independent voltage source and we have one controlled current source over here. So when you get a circuit like this, you can decide which type of analysis you want to use. We are going to start with mesh analysis because it's actually a little bit more straightforward. And then we're going to try a different one to solve the same circuit. Okay, so for mesh analysis, we need to first identify the unknown meshes. So we're going to use the color here. So we're going to define here I1, and then we're going to do a second one, I2. And the thing on the right is just showing the voltage we're trying to measure, which is VO, the output voltage. So that's not the mesh. So there's only two mesh currents. So we have I1 and then I2. And just to double check, you could say, well, do we need to suppress any sources? I'm just going to talk through it because actually it doesn't, we don't need to use it. When we suppress with controlled current sources, you have to be a little bit careful, but we have our voltage sources. You can still suppress, so this one definitely becomes a short circuit, and this one is a voltage source. It's based on another voltage in the circuit, but it will be a voltage source at its core. So if we suppress this, this will become 0, and then the current would be able to flow through it. So we're going to have two meshes here. So I1 and I2 are the same. Okay, so now we would apply Kirchhoff's voltage law around each of the loops. And so let's write that out. So let's do, first we'll start with I1. And remember, we're going to be going in the loop. So we're starting at the bottom. I'm going to label these, use red here, positive, negative, oops, that's went a little bit crazy, and then positive, negative on this side. So we're going to go through that loop, and when we do that, we are going to get a negative 2 Vx, and we're going to come back to the Vx. Just write it as is for now, and we will come back to it. So then we would do minus IR, right? I1, R1, and then minus an I1 minus I2, R2. Remember, because in this middle one, we have the current is, the current through that resistor is affected by both I1 and I2. So we have to include those both there. Then we've gone all the way around our loop, so we can see our circuit equation written there, KVL. Okay, let's write the next one, and then we'll talk about how to deal with the Vx there. All right, so let's do the next one. So this is going to be I2, and let's go around that loop. And I always recommend rewriting on this side following I2 current. So now this one here is going to be positive, negative, negative, positive, positive, negatives. Okay, so now that's defined. Let's go around that loop. I'm just going to write it in red just for contrast. And I forgot to put that this was equal to 0. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's going to be equal to 0. And let's just write the next one. So then we have I2, and this is going to be going, it's actually plus, so it's I2 minus I1 oh, sorry, in this loop it's going down, so it's going to be negative here, and then that times R2. And then we have a plus Vs, the source, and then a minus I2 R3. All right, so that's great. We have two unknowns and two equations, but actually we have this additional, this Vx here, this Vx here, and we don't know that. So technically we have 3 unknowns. And what we have to do here is rewrite Vx in terms of our unknowns, and then we can replace it in and we'll have everything defined. So this is kind of the trick of it. So we have Vx, if I'm going to write over here. If we can write that in terms of our mesh currents, then we will be all set. Okay, so we know that the current, we can use Ohm's law here to get the value. So we know that Vx is equal to, V equals the current through the resistor R2, and that will give us relative to 0, and that will give us our value. So if we give our current, and here we're making the positive, so we're going to be using the left convention. So current going from Vx to the reference node, so that's going to be I1 minus I2 would equal the current, average current going from the Vx to the ground node, and times R, so V equals IR, that will give us our value. We can then take that and plug it back into here, we only have one Vx here. And so once you rewrite that, then we can see that we have everything in terms of unknowns and known values. Let's just highlight that for complete clarity. So I'm going to do orange here for known values. So we know R1, we know Vs, we know R2, we know R3. We have those values. Oops, I forgot to put an R over here. This is going to be R2. I apologize about that. And then we have an R2 here, and a Vs. So those are all known values. Oh, and this R2 as well. Then we're going to solve, then we have our known values. Put that in purple. So I1 and I2. We have those values here, 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 and here. Unknowns here. So everything should be turned in terms of unknown values, I1 and I2, and then our resistance values. So that should give us 2 unknowns, 2 system of equations, and then at the end you can solve the system of equations, solve for I1 and I2, plug them back in. In this case, we're trying to find VO, so we'd be able to find that value and solve for it. All right, so let's now take the same problem again and set it up using node analysis. All right, so here's our circuit again. Remember, we have one controlled current source and then one independent voltage source. Sorry, controlled voltage source and one independent voltage source here. So we want to identify our unknown known voltages. And we can see, we are going to use suppression this time because it'll simplify our circuit. So if we use suppression, we'll see that if we suppress these 2 voltage sources, that actually, besides the reference node, we would only have one node at the top here. And so we're going to call that Vx as our unknown. So let's erase these suppression marks. So if we only have one unknown, we're going to use green here. So we're going to have Vx, and before I was using V1 and V2, you can name them whatever you want. Since we already have Vx named here, I'm just going to use that. And then we will have another constraint here. We see from the voltage source that we know that if we know Vx, so I'm going to put VO, Vx plus Vs will equal VO. Okay, so VO is just the other node on the right. So we know that relationship. So the moment we know Vx, we know VO as well. Okay, so we only have one unknown here. So let's now apply KCL. And so we would see that we want to apply KCL around Vx, we see that we have this voltage source floating here, and we know that we have to apply a supernode. So we can then take our value here, and we're going to apply a supernode around here, and we can look at the currents going out, out, and out here. So let's write that out. So I'm just going to write supernode. Node. All right, so for that, we're going to get 0 equals, and we're going to look at the currents going through. So we have, let's actually start with the R3 first. We're going to have, it's going to be VO minus, or divided by R, but because we have our relation here on the right, we're going to write that right away. So we're going to have Vx plus Vs minus 0, so I'm going to put that in parentheses, divided by R3, that would be 1 current. And then we're going to plus, this one's the easy one, the second one, current through R2, Vx divided by R2, that's a straightforward one. And then the last one is going to be Vx minus the voltage over the current source, so Vx minus, and that's going to be 2Vx divided by, nothing. Sorry, no, divided by R1. My apologies. I got confused for a second. Because the current is going through the resistor first. So we know the voltage on each side of the resistor. We can define those, and then we can write that out. So we use the supernode, and let's check our system of equations. We see that for our known values, we have R1, R2, and R3, and this Vs. So those are the only values we know by definition from the circuit diagram. Let's find those in our equation. Okay, so we have R1, R2, R3, and Vs. And our unknown, our only unknown here is going to be Vx. We are very lucky in this case because Vx, 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 and 2Vx, we have everything already in terms of our dependent variable, and we were lucky in this equation because, and I'll write it out over here, it happens that our controlled current source is the voltage, I'm going to put of our controlled current, or voltage source is equal to 2Vx, and that was already, so that's this voltage here, negative to positive. That was already in terms of our dependent variable here, Vx, and so when we directly substituted in, we got very lucky. So this happens to be in a very nice form. So we have one dependent variable, Vx, and then one supernode equation in terms of just one unknown. So then you solve your system of equations for Vx. Once you have Vx, then you can use, once we identify Vx from here, our dependent variable here, then we can use the relationship here to find VO, and that would be your what you're solving for in this specific circuit. Okay, so if you have a controlled current source in your circuit, you have to figure out which approach you want to take. When we use, I'm going to go back for a second, when we use the mesh analysis, it ended up being more straightforward. We had two unknowns, two equations, but we found if we used node analysis, and we ended up with a supernode, and we were able to solve it more directly, but it may be more confusing for some people. So you use what works for you, but you have to practice solving these relatively quickly so that you can look at the problem, identify the best way for you to solve it, and then solve it quickly.